Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Wednesday, July 5th.
Deputies made 15 arrests, handled 952 calls for service, and conducted 213 traffic stops.
Independence Day weekend was a busy one for local law enforcement. Amy Cherry has more on the holiday weekend.
While the July 4th holiday is always a busy time for deputies, the week leading up to the holiday was also surprisingly busy. Sheriff Rick Staley touted another See Something, Say Something success story.
Deputies determined this vehicle had recently fled from the Florida Highway Patrol. It was later determined to be a stolen vehicle from Jacksonville. One of the occupants was immediately apprehended, who also happened to be armed with a stolen gun. The other suspect fled, resulting in a large search and perimeter, but was unable to be located. During that chase, he did drop a backpack that also had another gun and other items that were used to steal the car.
2 teens were also arrested in a burglary in Palm Coast B section. Staley says they were caught in the act on video surveillance.
Turns out that the suspects were neighbors, and items that were stolen were recovered. Clearly, these juvenile delinquents need to turn their life around and certainly will not get the Good Neighbor of the Year award.
Both teens face charges of burglary and grand theft. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Amy Cherry.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you. 200 bills passed by the Florida legislature and signed by Governor Ron DeSantis went into effect Saturday.
One of the most significant is a new law that suspends a business's licenses if they hire undocumented immigrants. It also funds a program to transport migrants to other states. Another measure gives every student access to a school choice program and scholarships to cover $8,000 in private school tuition. New restrictions stop investment of state pension funds based on environmental and social governance. Automobile manufacturers are now forbidden to sell vehicles directly to buyers under a bill that was supported by the Florida Automobile Dealers Association. Florida's concealed carry law has changed to allow carrying a concealed weapon as long as the individual has valid identification and gives their ID to an officer if asked to do so. A new law requires public facilities, including prisons and schools, to have designated bathrooms for men and women, and individuals will be required to utilize facilities based on their gender as assigned at birth. Other new laws expand affordable housing, link hiking and biking trails to a statewide wildlife corridor, and prevent credit card companies from tracking firearm and ammunition sales through a separate merchant category code. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Rich Petchke.
Who is Alvin Jackson's father?
The Bunnell City manager will tell you his father's a bishop who put him on the right path.
When you talk about diverging, I could have gone in the other path, and my experiences, my drive, my influences probably would have been much different.
Jackson said it was his parents and those outside influences that changed his DNA to make him who he is today. You can listen to Business Minds Coffee Chat on WNZF on Saturday mornings at 8:30 or on the Flagler radio app. Tomorrow, how another couple of people influenced Alvin Jackson. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
The second annual $1 Million Foodathon is happening next week.
Flagler Broadcasting, in partnership with the Grace Community Food Pantry, is announcing the second annual $1 Million Foodathon will be held Friday, July 14th, to help over 3,500 families. Charles Solano, Grace Community Food Bank Director.
What we do is we try to bring a little joy into it, take a little pressure off, just communicate to them that we're here if you need us, and just keep coming as long as you have to.
Solano says food banks have a 5 times purchasing power, so a $100 donation can buy $500 in food. And you can't put a price on compassion. During last year's Foodathon, a 5-year-old girl donated her entire allowance of $5. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.